What's up, my dude? Supercross 2021 video game. So I know I've made a couple of videos kind of sort of on this, Supercross 4 or whatever you want to call it here. But in this video, I wanted to talk specifically about a few of the things that I haven't talked about yet. Mainly talking about things like that's happened this year, all the crazy shit that's happened this year that's going to change, some of the things with the potential Supercross 2021 or Supercross 4 game, whatever you want to call it, right? So, number one, right off the bat, super obvious thing. Oh my God, it's been a minute since I rode on this track right here. First things first is, what are they going to do with next year's replica tracks, like next year's default stock, 17 rounds of Supercross replica tracks? Because usually they replicate the year before. They've been doing that in all these milestone games, even the MXGP games, with the exception of MXGP 2019. That is the only milestone game that has actually had that actual current year of replica tracks in it, which I've always thought was kind of stupid. I always thought Milestone should have just been doing that from the very beginning, and they didn't even do that with Supercross 3, which I thought was really weird. They do it in MXGP 2019, and then Supercross 3 comes out after that, and you just got the 2019 replica tracks in it. You didn't even get the new, 2020 replica tracks. So that would lead you to believe that with this 2021 Supercross game, you're going to be getting the 2020 Supercross replica tracks, unless they go to 2021's replica tracks or track map or whatever. But the interesting thing is, you guys know, we did all of the basically last half of this year's Supercross rounds in the one stadium, in the Salt Lake City Stadium, right? So, it's kind of like, do you think they would just go off of where they were supposed to go in 2020 with the next game? Like, just strictly go off of the track maps of all the different tracks they were supposed to go to? Because that would be pretty bizarre, having an official Supercross game where literally half of the tracks are in the exact same stadium with just a different sort of jump layout and a different layout to the track and different obstacles. That would be super bizarre, having half of the tracks like that. I just couldn't imagine them doing that, which is, kind of crazy, because then they're technically not exactly replicating that year. So is it really the official Supercross game of that year? You know what I mean? It's kind of, even though, yeah, it is doing the tracks from the year before, but you see what I'm saying? Can you really consider it the same thing if it's not got the exact tracks that they rode on? That's kind of the whole point, right? So the way that MX Simulator has been doing that this current year, they've been still doing all the RF Pro Supercross racing on all the replica Supercross tracks and outdoor tracks this year. And basically the way they've been doing it is they've pretty much just acted like nothing has happened at all in real life, like different-wise, right? So they've just been going in there like everything, like all the Supercross rounds were just happening when they were supposed to, and going to all the different stadiums that they were supposed to. They just went off of those track maps of those, 6 or 7 different tracks that we were supposed to go to, and just made the tracks off of that. That's basically what they did with it. So they didn't go in there and make, 6 or 7 rounds on specifically Salt Lake City to try to replicate it in real life. And that whenever all this shut down, they didn't shut down the pro racing on MX Simulator. They just kept going like in scheduled time, if had none of this craziness happened. That's basically how they've been doing it on MX Simulator. They've been doing that with the outdoor series as well. Well, to a certain extent, let me say that, because it's kind of weird now that I think about that, because in outdoors on MX Simulator, how they kind of took that first round away. They were supposed to go to Hangtown, if I'm not mistaken, and then they took that out, and then they were supposed to start at WW Ranch. So weirdly enough, MX Simulator just didn't go to Hangtown, so they kind of followed that a little bit, like what they're doing in real life, but they just went to WW Ranch and just started all that up, even though we're still not even doing any of that in real life motocross right now. You guys know it's been pushed back to at least the end of August or something like that. So, and for me personally, I kind of think that, I feel like that's a bad idea. That seems like at the surface level, like a good idea, and it kind of, that's probably the easier route to just go ahead and just continue to go off the track maps and do what was supposed to happen this year with real life Supercross and motocross, and just don't go off of anything that happened in real life. I mean, yeah, that seems like the easier, it definitely is the easier route, but there is something very bizarre, and I noticed this when I was racing, you know, some of the pro Supercross races this year on MX Simulator. It is very weird when in real life everything is totally paused or shut down, or they're not racing Supercross, and you're in there in the game going to all those different stadiums and all those different replica tracks that they were supposed to go to, but they never actually went to, and you're in there pro racing on it. I don't know. There was just something really bizarre about that, because that's kind of what it's all about when it comes to these official Supercross games and, you know, MX Simulator Pro RF Supercross racing and motocross racing. It's all about directly replicating that real life Supercross or motocross series, replica tracks and all, right? That's what kind of gives you that immersion in that realism, because they run all, and they even go to the extent to run all the races just a week before the actual real life race on MX Simulator, so you really get that vibe like, oh yeah, we just pro raced on that track and here they are racing on it in real life. You know, it's kind of a whole like thing that they've had going for that this whole time, but this year it wasn't like that at all. Not only did they, you know, just go ahead and continue to run all the Supercross races on MX Simulator when it was totally shut down in real life, but they also didn't do any of the, you know, like Salt Lake City, you know, tracks that they ended up doing in real life. They didn't do any of that. They just went along like we went to all those different stadiums, like it was just a normal-ass Supercross year. And to me personally, that was just really bizarre. I mean, would it have been weird doing, you know, 6 rounds in the same stadium like they did in real life? Yeah, that would have been weird. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like it wouldn't have been. That definitely would have been weird on MX Simulator, but I think that would have been the better way to go, because it would have made it feel more like how it actually was in real life, which is kind of the whole point of why you're doing it to begin with. That's kind of the whole point. You're trying to have like real life AMA Supercross in a virtual world. So I don't know. Not only do I think that, you know, it would have been a lot easier as far as the track making, because they would have only been in one stadium, but also it would have felt more normal. I feel like doing that versus going to all those stadiums and doing all that stuff like it was the normal Supercross year, even though they weren't actually doing that in real life. I don't know. There was something really bizarre about the feeling that gave me when they did that. And it's kind of like right now in outdoors on MX Simulator. You know, they're going to Southwick, they're going to all these different pro national rounds, and we're not even doing that at all in real life right now, and we may not. Anyways, getting back to the original point, you know, the decision of what they're going to do with the next official Supercross game. I really think at this point, the best thing they can do is just go off of 2021. You know what I mean? Because I really don't think we're ever going to have another one of these 2020 craziness things again. So leave that shit behind, right? You know, pass like a ponytail, right? Like, put that shit behind us. I think that would probably be the better way to do it, instead of, I mean, if they do replicate all these 2020 tracks or whatever, I think they're just going to go off the track maps. It would kind of surprise me if they did the 6 or 7, you know, Salt Lake City rounds in the next official Supercross game. They would definitely have to have a lot more other track content if that was the case, because literally half of the tracks in the game would be the same track, basically, just a different layout. So in like a gameplay sense, it would be kind of really repetitive, but they could definitely get away with it if they had more like other Supercross track content and stuff like that, like other outdoor, you know, testing Supercross tracks or whatever. But yeah, there is a certain element of it though that would be like, oh yeah, that was that year that they did all that crazy shit in real life. That's what I'm saying. You're kind of trying to fight that balance of you want it to be normal, but at the same time, you're trying to replicate what they actually did in real life. So it's kind of a twist up there with what you would do, but yeah, I don't know. Like I say, MX Simulator is basically, acting like there's nothing happened as far as what they're doing with the pro racing, which, I mean, I guess it's all in how you want to look at it. Like, yeah, they on MX Simulator, they still got to go to all those different Supercross stadiums. They got to go. They're already doing outdoors, even though we're not even doing that in real life yet. Yeah, I just wanted to get in here and kind of talk about that aspect alone, and I just don't know what they're going to do. That's basically what it comes down to. I have no idea what they're going to try to do with this next Supercross game, but that's a big part of these milestone official Supercross games is the replica tracks. You know what I mean? And what they've been doing is the replica tracks from the year before, so you just think in your head, what are they really going to do? Are they going to go off of what actually happened in real life in 2020, or what was supposed to happen, or are they just going to go with try to do the 2021 stuff? Because they could definitely go in there and base their whole entire game off of the track maps of the 2021 tracks, which when you do that, there is negatives to it because a lot of times they do end up changing the track sometimes drastically from the actual track map to what it actually ends up being. So if you go like strictly off of the track map way ahead of time, sometimes you don't even get the track that accurate to begin with from what it actually was in real life. But I think it would be okay for them to do that for 2021. And some of you guys might be saying, well, what if all this happens again? And then they wouldn't even be replicating the real thing in 2021 because they would have made all the tracks and the game would already be out, right? But I just don't think this is ever going to happen like this again in the near future. I say it's not ever going to happen again. It could happen again, but definitely not in the near future. You know what I mean? This is definitely an election, weird, political, for sure, 100%. Some of you guys that don't understand that aspect of it need to wake the hell up because that is definitely what's going on here. So I just don't, even if something like that sort of came around again, they wouldn't make it into what they're making all this year. You know what I mean? They're doing that because of it being election year, and it's kind of the same way with everything else that's going on. It just none of it feels genuine to me. None of it feels like actual, solid concrete type stuff to me. It all just seems like a facade. It all just seems like a weird political based thing that's going on. I don't know. Really bizarre year for that, but yeah, either way, we'll see what they do with this next Supercross game, but I just wanted to come in here and kind of mention that. Definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this whole thing, and yeah, I appreciate all you guys that have, hit the notification bell on my channel. I know my uploads have been kind of crazy here lately. Been trying to get everything going in the new place, been getting all my microphones set up. I'm going to have... I'm playing MX Simulator every single day again, so I'll be getting a lot more of that content going again. We got it coming, boys. Just be patient. I know anytime I take a break from YouTube or don't upload for a minute, it kind of takes me a second to start getting my normal viewership back. So we'll get all that popping off again. I'll get all the normal good videos coming again. Just trying to get the ball rolling. Sometimes it's what you got to do. You just got to get that ball rolling, right? So that's what I'm trying to do with some of these videos. Yeah, some of these video ideas might be a little wild, might be a little like, really, you're making a video on that, Spence? But I'm trying to get the ball going, trying to get all of my custom tracks going again on MX Sim, trying to get back into the, pro racing side of it, get back into going faster in the game again. So we'll have all that going. We'll get the live streaming going here in about another week or two. I'm going to have the green screen and everything like that. So she's coming, boys. You just got to be a little patient with it. So either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.